For those who haven't yet had a chance to read the paper, what would you say are your three main key takeaways? What are the three highlights you think that the reader should come away with having read the paper?
The first really important point is that we have in the Arab region, and I use the term Arab region, not the Arab world, because it's not a single Arab world. It used to be very much more unified politically and culturally and ideologically, but it's not anymore. We have across the Arab region a really critical phenomenon that is the foundation for all of the terrible things going on, the violence, the wars, the terrorism. And it is the mass pauperization. The Arab region is a region of poor people. About 70%, according to UN data, about 70% are poor and vulnerable people. And that definitely has increased in the last year because of the COVID and oil price dropping and economic slowdowns and other things. So we're probably up to around 75%. 3 out of every 4 Arabs is poor and vulnerable. And they're all politically totally neutralized. They have no political power. They vote in make-believe elections. They have fake parliaments. They have controlled media. They go through the steps of expressing themselves or trying to influence policy, but they have no impact on policy. They're powerless, pauperized people who have simply reached the end of the line. They can't go on anymore. They can't feed their kids. They can't get jobs. They don't have public transport. They don't have clean water. Electricity doesn't work. The hospitals don't work. And they've given up politely asking the government, please do this, please do that. So that's the main underlying issue, the mass pauperization of a helpless citizenry that has risen up across the region. And that'd be probably the second point, which is the demands of the protesters all across the region are virtually identical. I noted them all down, studied them, looked at them, analyzed them. They're all the same. And it's understandable because they've all had the same experience of being mistreated by their government. Also, they feel mistreated by Israeli colonization, Iranian penetration, American, British, French, Turkish, Russian intervention. I mean, there's other things that they don't like, but it's their internal degradation by their own societies, whether it's the government, security agencies, public sector, private sector, whoever it is, and therefore they have done the only thing that is still available to them, which is to rise up in the streets and try to overthrow the governments. And the third notable thing is that the main demand now in the 4 countries we look at, Sudan, Algeria, Lebanon, and Iraq, is to get rid of the entire government system. This is so important to understand. Years ago, for the last 50 years, we've always had demonstrations and protests where the people want to reduce the price of milk or increase the salaries of teachers in the schools, the single issue demands and protests. Now the demands across the entire region are get rid of the whole system. The whole system is corrupt, it's ineffective, it's inequitable, it's degrading the citizens of these countries, and we don't think it's reformable. So those 3 things I would say are the most important things that people should understand about what's going on in the region. And of course, what they triggered was a militarized response from the states.